Good rising, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. I am Tayla Andre. Waking up with Tayla Andre has absolutely nothing to do with the time of day that we link up, but about waking up your third eye with unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness. And I am trying to fix our audio here because it seems as if it is not working. Is this the reason why? There it is. There it is. No. Woo-hoo. What's up, y'all? I'm just trying to get the other side of Spark to work. So let me just check real quick. So for those who don't know, I am Tayla Andre. Waking up with Tayla Andre has absolutely nothing to do with the time we link up, but waking up your third eye with unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness, Monday through Friday, motivational Monday through Freaky Friday. And you know what today is, right? Freaky Friday. I'm super excited for Freaky Friday. Of what we're going to do first is we're going to talk a little bit about some of the news that's going on in the world, and then from there we're going to get into Freaky. Okay, so music is still playing, so we are live on video, but we're not live on air. So give me a moment. So you may hear like a little bit of silence while I try and figure this out. Hey, 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 hey. Let me see. But I didn't do this last time. Uh-oh. And it's not even working on the mic here. Let me see. If I do it now, no, it's not working. It's not working. It's not working. Hot Sauce, I need you to answer the phone. And I recently updated my phone, so I have like the jailbroken update that's supposed to come out in September, and so this nonsense be freezing up. If you have any tips, tricks, or anything that I can do, oh, there you go. Babe, so I'm on StreamYard on the computer. Everything is working fine, but I opened, but we're streaming, but there's no, the color, like the sound isn't resonating. And then when I go to the website, it's still music playing, even though it says that we have stream time. Okay. Okay, because you know what? It was when I walked in, it was already up. Oh, yay. Okay, we're good. Quick question, 5 seconds. So if I'm on StreamYard, I don't need to turn on the Rode. Like, I don't need to mess with the board if StreamYard is audio and visually recording. Okay. Ah. Microphone. Okay. Like, yeah, and to be as clear as possible. So, which one of our texts should I contact after the show? Okay. Okay. Mhm. Okay. Thank you, my love. I'm sorry for bothering you. Bye. Good rising, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. There we are. Hey, my loves. I am Taylor Andre. Waking up with Taylor Andre has absolutely nothing to do with the time of day that we link up, but waking up your third eye with unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness. Today is the day that the Lord hath made. I am rejoiced and glad in it. Today is Freaky Friday, and I am super excited about today's conversation. And if you look at the visual, I'll let the listeners just wait for it. But today gonna be sexy, boo. It's gonna be sexy. So this is live. It is not pre-recorded. We are live. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we are making our way through. This is the end of our first week back. Waking up with Taylor Andre. I'm super excited. I feel good. I think I look good. And I am annoyed. So first and foremost, I just have to tell you why I'm annoyed. So the first reason why I'm annoyed is yesterday I had a commuter's open house. So a commuter's open house is understanding that people work, but they do still want to see properties after work. And so commuter hours are technically any time after like 5:30. So those that have a 9 to 5 can still engage in the viewing. And so I had a commuter's open house from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. And while it was people were moseying themselves in, I walked around the neighborhood attempting to communicate with the neighbors to let them know that A, the house is being sold. Do you want to choose your neighbor? And B, if you're interested in selling your home, hi, I'm Taylor Andre, I'm here. And so I left flyers for those that didn't answer the door, and a lot of people weren't even home yet. And so I understand it's a federal offense for me to put my anything in your mailbox. So I like put, I rigged it and put it on the side of the mailbox, put it, on the door. And I got a call this rising that I missed. I missed the call, and the voicemail was extremely, I'm not going to put the sister out there because I really do want to communicate with her and I'm not trying to create any bad blood, but she called me and she was like, yo, keep that ish over there. Like, take yourself to the suburbs and go harass them. Don't harass us. You supposed to be, yeah, Taylor Andre, so-called radio personality. Okay. Why don't you go and teach us how to keep our homes instead of selling our homes? Like, first and foremost, the thing that frustrated me about that is like, you didn't call back and speak with me and have a conversation. Like, you're a grown woman, you're a homeowner, right? So you're like this responsible adult that knows how to maintain yourself, your emotions. And so why, if I did not answer the phone, would you not call back? Or would you not send me a text message like, Taylor, when you get a chance? Like, you yelling at me through voicemail is not having a conversation with me and getting your point across in the manner in which you wish to get your point across. And so that truly frustrated me that, first of all, you think it's okay for you to leave this irate message on my voicemail. And trust me, I'm the queen of irate voicemail messages. And so I get it. What I also understand and what I also get is, just as angry, frustrated, and irate as she is, so am I. And that's why I do what I do. I'm not sitting here like, hey, sell your house with Taylor. I want you to sell. Just go ahead. Like, it's not about that. But people are selling their homes. And there are Black people that are selling their homes and using white agents, because we already know not only Boston, but many people have like a crab in the barrel mentality. And if I get me a white agent, I'm going to have better representation. I'm going to like this slew of mentality that we have when it comes to working with each other. And so for me, I understand and I have seen firsthand how an agent will go ahead and have their friend come to the open house and have their friend put in an offer and then turn around and be like, oh, this offer that's 45,000 less than what you could be selling your house for. You're really lucky to get this offer because of the neighborhood that you live in, the amount of crime that's taking place in this neighborhood, everything that's going on. Like, yo, you should be lucky to get this offer. And then when you're a seller, or even like if you're in the market and you don't understand the market and you're not an agent, you're going to listen to what? The professional. So you're going to conduct yourself based on what this professional is telling you. And if the professional is telling you that you're lucky to get this low ball offer, you're going to go ahead and accept it. And now this agent's friend just made a huge ass profit and is going to flip the house, and it's not going to be a family buying it. It's going to be an LLC that's going to upgrade, update, and then resell it. And the money that you could have made off that profit, they just pocketed. And so even though I get you're angry and I get you're upset, call me and ask me why. Well, you didn't ask me if I want to buy a house. Well, baby, do you want to buy a house? Because I'm here for that too. But don't just come here and attack me and not understand the reason why I do what I do. Nonetheless, I'm over that. It kind of hurt my feelings. I'm not gonna lie. Like, real talk, it really did hurt my feelings because I know what I do and I know how much I give of myself to others, and to have my integrity questioned, to have like as much, like I literally drain myself to give back as much as I can give back. And for you to question my integrity and to question what I do and why I do it, it's just like, you know, so-called radio personality. Well, so-called you ain't never listened to my show. So-called you don't really know who you're dealing with. And so it did hurt my feelings. And I'm big enough to admit that it did. I want to give a huge shout out to Coach Mac LeBrum. He is a Union High School head coach. He had 80 players on his team. He is a high school coach in Utah at Union High School. And the 80 players on his football team, he kicked them off the team after he learned that some of them were cyberbullying a student, cutting classes, and disrespecting teachers. Now they have to earn back the opportunity to play by doing community service and acting better off the field. Yo, this is the type of leadership that needs to happen in sports. I know for like firsthand, I have a cousin that is a beast on the field, and he got the slack off in school. The teachers didn't like, yo, he was getting the school so much public publicity that whatever he wanted to do, like he would skip school, he'd be in other people's classrooms, he'd be, you know, wouldn't have to serve detention because he had football practice. Like, there's just a level of you get away with stuff that other people don't get away with because you're the star quarterback. And I'm so glad the coach is like, nah, B, all y'all cut. Coach, like, can you imagine? What? You over here like disrespecting students, disrespecting teachers, you know, causing harm. And this is a very slippery slope to the future, because if you think if you can get away with these things now, look at the Aaron Hernandez story. Because he was that star player for the school, there were certain things that he got away with, and that led to the crescendo of, you know, what happened publicly with his arrest. And so I'm really glad that Coach Mac LeBrum is holding these young men accountable. And I would love to see more coaches follow suit. But especially when it comes to college, a lot of these coaches are not, because these children, these are young men that are making the school millions of dollars and not getting a red cent for it. Let me tell you about my ancestors, right? So I may not be super religious, but I am super spiritual, and I do have a connection with those that came before me that are no longer here. I believe that energy never dies, it only transforms. So if I call out to my ancestors, they come. So Hurricane Laura dismantled a Louisiana Confederate statue after local officials voted to keep it secure. Look at God. Look at God. With all the controversies and debates surrounding the dismantling of Confederate statues across the country, with ongoing protests of systematic racism, Mother Nature, the ancestors, decided to make a decision herself. Just 2 weeks after the local officials voted to keep a Confederate monument secure in Lake Charles, Louisiana, Hurricane Laura came through and toppled the monument with her strong winds. Thank you, Laura. We appreciate you. I want to see if they're going to go around, turn around, and rebuild it. I hope not, because it really is destroyed. Like, it broke in 5 places. They can't just put it back up. A Black bank receives $50 million in deposit funding from PayPal's Economic Opportunity Fund. The Black Lives Matter protests have forced many corporations and institutions to reckon with a history of racial inequality among its corporate structures. Pause. We read the article yesterday about Wells Fargo and their multi-million-dollar hush, we still gonna do what we gonna do. So I wanna give up a big up to PayPal for doing the right thing. This week, Optus Bank, a Black-owned banking institution based in South Carolina, announced that it will be receiving $50 million in deposit funding from PayPal to expand its business in the community as a recipient of the online payment giant's Economic Opportunity Fund. There is a clear economic underpinning to racial inequality, and PayPal is taking action to do our part to provide more financial opportunities for Black community. Nearly 90% of its revenue is invested in minority businesses and homes, specifically those in low-income communities. And so if this is not another reason for you to go ahead and get that PayPal stock, to get those PayPal options, and to get that PayPal download. Like, I know a lot of us already have PayPal way before the Cash App. These young kids don't know nothing about PayPal. But if you're also a business owner, PayPal is amazing when it comes to like online sales. They also send you a square-like cube so you can do credit card payments in person. And so just shout out to PayPal, because that's huge. You know, they're a newer institution when it comes to banking, but it seems like they are on the right moral path, because we know Bank of America isn't. Michelle Obama says she felt invisible to white people, even as the First Lady. And so if you feel invisible to white people as Shanae, then trust and believe you are not the only one. For our forever First Lady, and I think she really is going to be forever First Lady. Like, she is the Jackie Kennedy Onassis that of the Black community, because you know they love Jackie. Like, Jackie O is hailed and revered, and they like everybody loves Jackie. But I do think that Michelle Obama kind of took the #1 spot. That's just my opinion. Our forever First Lady opened up about the common phenomenon experienced by Black people on the latest episode of her Spotify podcast. And I really do like listening to her and how articulate she is and how forward thinking she is. I watched her documentary, and one of the things that really stuck with me was when she said the media was coming and attacking her, and there was no space for her to be herself. And when she was speaking, they made her like this angry Black woman. But in that particular scene, they have a video of her like holding her head down and like kind of feeling discouraged. And I could not imagine, like, you are the most powerful Black woman on earth right now, and you still have your power taken from you, that energy of like your joy and your happiness. And it reminded me that I am not exempt. You know, like, I never thought I was exempt, but you know, you get to a certain age and you kind of feel like I don't care about how you feel about me, but at the end of the day, when you as an individual are being treated as a race, like kind of being held accountable for the sins of your brother type thing, even though they're not sins, it's just simply sinful thoughts of others. I kind of like that pun. That was cute. I enjoyed that. The first Black woman astronaut to join the International Space Station crew next year. We are in 2020, and this is the first time the international. So I just want to be clear, like international means all of the countries in the world. Europe has Black people. Russia has Black people. China has Black people. America and Africa are not the only countries or continents. Africa's a continent. United States is a continent. North America actually is the continent, not the United States. We're not the only ones with Black people. So for this to be the first Black woman for the International Space Station, it blows my mind that we are still like hitting marks of first. And when you take a look at like news reports, it's not like white woman is the first to open a business that sells shoes. It's like Kelly John, you know, like it's disheartening, and it's frustrating that we still have to like acknowledge that we are going through the motions of still having an opportunity. That's the thing that is annoying. That's the thing that pisses me off. It's like, it's not the first woman astronaut. It's like, oh, you're just now in 2020, International Space Station, given an opportunity to a Black woman. So shout out to you, my boo. Her name is Jeanette J. Epps. She became the first Black woman astronaut for NASA in 2009. 2009. Next year, she'll make history again as the first Black woman to live and work on the International Space Station for an extended period of time. And so I can't wait for that book to come out. Like, can you imagine, like, Michelle Obama just said, I felt invisible in a room full of white people. She's going to feel invisible in a damn space station. And if she's the first one, she's most likely going to be the only one. And so where is there any like camaraderie or like brother, sisterhood? She's going to be up there for an extended period of time and feel completely isolated and alone. And so I pray for her. I really do want to take a moment to pray for her mental health, pray for her sanity, and may the good Lord bless them hands if she need to use them. White vigilantes have always had a friend in the police department. New data shows that far-right vigilantes, often with support of police, have threatened protesters nearly 500 times since police killed George Floyd. Not 500 times since Rodney King, not 500 times since Tamir Rice, but 500 times since the killing of George Floyd. And so this is not new information. I think we've had, you know, the same conversation for the last 3 days when it comes to enough is enough. Shout out to James Mackey and DL and Brother Brandon, who were here on Tuesday talking about the event today at the State House at 3:30. Enough is enough. They're sick and tired. It's a press conference, and they're just calling out all of those that are not coming in and having real conversations about things that need to be had or done, action items, demands, as far as, you know, we're tired. Enough is enough. We're ready to have, you know, we shall overcome. We're done with that. We want some real action items. Jacob Blake was the young man that was shot in the back after breaking up a fight and getting shot in the back by police. He is handcuffed to a hospital bed right now. So even though he's paralyzed, baby, paralyzed means you can't walk on your own. Even though he is paralyzed, he is being handcuffed to the hospital bed. Mind you, the man that has not committed a crime. Mind you, he has not been charged with anything. Handcuffed to the bed. He will need a miracle to walk again and return to some resemblance of the man that he once was. But this 29-year-old is handcuffed to a dead, like that is insult and injury and a slap in the face and a punch in the gut and another shot to the back. Like, seriously? Can I scratch my ass, please? Please. This is America. Home, land of the free, home of the brave. Unless you're black, and then you ain't free at all, and you have to be brave to walk these streets. Latino groups say that Trump's GOP is the party of white nationalists ahead of the convention speech. And I'm really excited for this because if you take a look at demographics, if you filled out the census this year and you took a look at the demographic, it asked you whether or not you were black, white, indigenous, Asian, and a host of other, things, right? And then the question is, but are you Latino or not? And a lot of Latinos check off, yes, I'm Latino, but yes, I'm white. A lot of them, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans. I'm not quite sure about Mexicans. And this is based on what I read. And I kind of want to go back and read how Mexicans and Central and South Americans responded. But I know, like, as far as the islands are concerned, the islands are always coming to America, checking off that white box. And I don't know if it's very similar to the story that I told on Wednesday about how my uncle was told to check the box for being white. So my uncle is 100% Cape Verdean. His mom is Cape Verdean. His father's Cape Verdean, and he is a second generation Cape Verdean American. And because during him being raised up, they were still colonized and didn't have their independence, he was told, as a whole, Cape Verdeans were told, like, you're white, like, check on that box because you're us and we are white, you check that box. And so he was told at a very young age to check the white box and didn't until he was older, like, kind of question things and alter the box that he checked. And so I wonder if that's the reason, like, are they being told to check that box, or do they truly believe that they are white? But for a Latino group to say that white nationalists are, the GOP is white nationalists, is huge because a lot of Latinos vote Republican. So for me, that's huge. I know other people like, Tayla, that's not a big deal, but I did not think, and especially with Goya food products, like, oh yes, we love Trump, but as a multi-billion-dollar business, I guess I'd love Trump too. There is a mom that created an ABC poster to teach kids about race and privilege. This Portland mom designed a poster that she hopes will help parents and teachers educate their children about racism, allyship, and more. And so I'm taking a look at this poster, and it is so, like, it's cute, and it looks like it's, I don't know why I was about to fix my mouth to say this, but I was like, oh, it looks like it's really, high-end quality. And that, again, goes to my own biases, that when we create something, we be half-assing it and it be some bootleg nonsense. And so I acknowledge my bias, and I acknowledge that, I am not far removed from many of us that still have a mentality of we aren't good enough, or we don't produce the best. And so this ABC poster it's really, really cute. And I'm trying to make it bigger, but it's cute in the sense of, like, it's like A is for Afro, B is for Black, C is for camaraderie, and it's just like it goes through. N is for no hate, K is for kindness, J is for justice, P is for privilege, R is for race. Z is for, I can't read it. W is for, it's mad little. I'm gonna post it. You guys can see it for yourself. If you are on social media now, you can go ahead and go to Tammy Emerald Creative. And so I'm gonna spell this out because if you're slow like me, you're like, Taylor, what did you just say? So it's TAIMANIE. And that E is in emerald, EMERALD, creative. So like Tamani Emerald. I butchered the baby's name, but it's cute. And on her Instagram post, it says, one of the most common questions in my inbox is, how do I talk to my kids about race? How do I talk to them about what's going on with that is scaring them? I've gone through the emotions of the same process myself with my own boys, and this is what I've come to the conclusion. I have created this as a resource for parents talking to kids about big things like race, activism, and allyship. Snag the entire collection now, and you'll be the first to know when our A is for ally. Decks and books are available. So that's dope. I'm going to post that so you guys can have access to it. It's really cute. Rudy Giuliani. What time is it? Okay, we have 8 minutes before we go and talk about sex, babe. Let's talk about, okay, so Rudy Giuliani pushes racist message at the RNC as anti-racism protests continue. But is this really news though? Like, why are you so surprised? Or why is this article so surprised? Trump's lawyer used the Black Lives Matter message to insist that all lives matter, despite ongoing protests of police shootings of yet another black man. Rudy Giuliani, you have never gotten it, like never, ever gotten it. The only thing that you may have done right in your entire career was hold down the fort when, quote unquote, we were attacked, because yes, I am a conspiracy theorist about the attack on American soil. And it's like, oh, Tayla, how dare you say that we did that to ourselves? The government wouldn't kill millions of Americans. Yes, we would. And yes, we have. And it's called collateral damage. If your 3,000 lives helps make America great again, if your 3,000 lives gives us the ability to invade countries that we've been trying to invade for decades, oh yeah, these 3,000 ain't nothing but collateral. If you think for 5 seconds that we're not sending, if you take the test, if you take a test, but when you go into the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, like when you get into military, they give you a test. And I say this with like all love, all respect, but in all honesty, if you don't score high, like the higher you score, the further away from the battlefield you are. So if they deem you, quote unquote, like, we can lose this dumb one, put him in the front lines. He has nothing to offer us but his body. And so collateral damage is a real thing, and it's nothing new. Speaking of the military, speaking of collateral damage, speaking of losing lives through the military, there is a young man, Mr. Fernandez, who lost his life. And I just want to be clear, like I don't want to mince words. So shout out to Liz Miranda, Representative Liz Miranda, because she's been doing a lot of activism regarding the missing. He was missing. So I want to get his full name correct for you. Elder Fernandez. So Elder Fernandez. Elder Fernandez is a Cape Verdean American that was born and raised here in Boston. He was serving his time as far as military is concerned in Texas. He became missing in Texas, and that about a week ago they were, have you seen me? Have you seen me? Have you seen me? And they recently found him. Elder was found last night. This was 2 days ago. Elder was found last night in Temple, Texas, deceased, making him the 10th or 11th soldier this year missing and or harmed at Fort Hood, Texas. We won't stop until justice is served and Fort Hill is investigated. Let's wrap our hands around the family. And so shout out to Representative Liz Miranda for all of the advocacy that she does around all of our issues. This is not the first, it's not the last, that she has extended herself and given of herself to us, all of us. And so I cannot imagine what a family could be going through right now when your child, 10th or 11th, and this is Fort Hill, this is just one station, and we have hundreds of them throughout the country. And this is not new as far as Black and brown people. Johnson is, I can't think of her first name, but they said it was like friendly fire. She committed suicide. That's what they said. They said that she committed suicide, but when there's pictures of her, like she was raped, she was assaulted, she had bruises on her face, like her eye was busted, her head was busted open, and she had a single gunshot wound. And they were like, oh yeah, she killed herself. And then she fell, and that's how she got the bruises. Then I guess she was playing with a dildo too, and and that was the extent of it. Like, they said what they said, and they left it at that. And so it's sort of like the police investigating themselves and finding they did nothing wrong. Like, the military has their own court martial, and what happens in that court stays in that court, and it's not really public information. And so my condolences to the family of Elder Fernandez, my condolences to the families of the other 11 people that came up missing while at Fort Hood, Texas. We have 3 more minutes. Gabrielle Union's Flawless Hair Care line is more affordable and blacker than ever, which is really, really freaking excited, because if you are natural and you out in these streets buying products, Lord, them things are expensive. Like, and when you have a lot of hair, it is like, use a quarter size. It's like, where? On my edges? Because that's the only place that's going to get laid if I'm using this quarter size. And so I'm really excited. As much as I raised my hand and said, hey, this is what I'd like to do, at the end of the day, if you're not a majority Black owned or Black owned company, then your voice is just about as big as your equities. Union admits that there was a disconnect between her brand and the woman she wanted to serve. Flawless products range between $19 and $29, and they were not sold in communities of color, even though hair care lines were marketed for women with textured hair. The thing about the 2017 version is that it was only Black fronted. It wasn't Black led, and it certainly was not Black owned. Said the mother and wife of retired NBA superstar Dwayne Wade. We had great products, but the price was really, really, really high. And as soon as the deal ended, I was committed to wrestling back control of the company, making sure that it was Black owned, Black led, Black marketed, and really centered around the needs and voices of Black women. So thank you so much, Gabrielle Union. We do appreciate you. Even though that is affordable, that's still high as hell, boo. Like, can we please get some $8 products? I'm serious. Yo, them things be going so fast. Black children typically experience a 3-year delay in autism diagnosis. This is no different from every other disparity that we have witnessed across the spectrum. Anything, like, we're always delayed, we're always last, never first, unless it's the first to do something in 2020 when you should have been the first in 1964. Black children with autism on the autism spectrum disorder face major lags in getting diagnosed, even after their parents raise concerns. And that's very similar to all of the Black women that are in the hospital giving birth and still dying at exponential rates than white women. And it's because healthcare is healthcare. And if you are not white, you're going to get a different type of healthcare than if you're Black. And there are scientific facts that state, throughout the years, that we have been treated differently when it comes to our skin tone and when it comes to our healthcare. A building at Troy University, formerly named for the KKK leader, renamed after John Lewis, A building at Troy University in Alabama, once named after a former governor with ties to the Ku Klux Klan, has been renamed after the late Congressman John Lewis. And so I am looking, Troy University in Alabama. I've been to Troy before, and I had to think for a second if they were a historically black college or university, and they are not. And even though I can hear someone say, like, Tayla, why would a black university have a KKK Confederate statue on it? Well, if you know anything about history, you would know that a lot of the historically black colleges and universities were started by white people. Bet you didn't know that, huh? Don't believe me, just read. In other news, Missouri lawmakers advanced a bill allowing adults to give children guns without parental consent. And Missouri is bat-ish crazy for that. So the GOP-controlled Missouri House on Tuesday advanced a bill that would make it legal to give guns to children without their parents' permission. The bill comes after Governor Mike Parson called lawmakers back for a special summer session on crime and asked the legislature to penalize criminals who unlawfully use firearms, then pass them off to children to avoid detection. The legislation is the exact opposite of what Parson called for, according to the Associated Press. It is currently a misdemeanor crime to recklessly give a child a gun without their parents' permission. On Tuesday, the state voted to toss out the existing law and only make it a felony to give firearms to minors if the intent is to avoid arrest or criminal investigation. And so we gonna leave that just right there. Nancy Pelosi does not think that there should be any debates between Biden and Trump, but if I could be honest and selfish, that's the only reality TV that I'm interested in watching. So I don't watch any of this reality TV that a lot of people are engaged in. I know people like it. It allows me to have like mindless television, but mindless television is watching life and reality every day for me. And so I don't take extra time to watch insanity. But I would watch a debate between Biden and Trump. I think that would not only be, that would be the most entertaining thing that we, can you imagine? Mr. Trump, can you please answer the question? Yes, but I am the best. I'm the bestest. I've been doing really good. You know, like, I just think it would be hilarious. Please let there be a debate. I want to see it. I'm trying to see. There was one more story that I wanted to read prior to getting into Freaky Friday. Okay, I found it. So it was actually two stories. So feds open a cold case unit in Alaska focusing on missing and murdered Indigenous women, and I think this is absolutely amazing. This is exactly what we need. The database reveals that more than 1,500 unsolved cases of missing and murdered Indigenous women have taken place. Let's go back to the days where the Indigenous people were on their land and people came over, and what did they do? They raped, they pillaged, they stole, and they destroyed, right? And we're in 2020 and there still is no difference. And so this is in Anchorage, Alaska. Ida Rose Jamont, 37, was last seen in 1975. She would be 82. Valerie Stifoff became missing in 2012. She would be 51. Like, say her name does not extend only to the women that have been taken by the hands of police officers, but we have to address the fact that, you know, crimes against, there was a meme that I read last night. A gentleman posted, ha ha ha, isn't it funny that women think that a FaceTime call saves them when they're walking alone at night? And somebody commented like, yeah, let's make jokes that women don't feel safe at night. Isn't it your job as a man to make sure that we are protected and not make jokes about possibly us being in harm's way? So women have been at a disadvantage as far as for years, like always. And I'm tired of the jokes being flown around and like 1,500 unsolved cases in Alaska alone of native owned, like not just women, but native women for the last 45 years. And not just that, but like, I'm gonna leave that alone because you didn't think that our lives matter enough for you to come and find us, for you to make the resources available. Like it, I'm just happy that the case is being reopened and 1,500 families may receive justice. And the last story that I wanted to read. Remember yesterday I was trying to find out what Karen said when she slapped the little boy and then tried to use a racist remark to justify it, and I was trying to figure out like what she said exactly in response to people asking her like, why did you just hit him? And so she's like, oh, I tapped him because he didn't apologize, with her entitled self. And other people are like, no, she did not tap him, she slapped him. And the reason why she slapped him is because he quote unquote hit her at full speed from the rear. And what the employees are saying is there was like a pile up, like somebody hit him and propelled him to hit her. And so it wasn't an intentional hit. And there was no questions about like, are you okay? Are we okay? Is everybody okay? And she said that effing N hit me. That N hit me. That N hit me. And they were like, what? The N hit me. Like, and she kept saying it over and over and over again, justifying why she slapped him in the face. And so I asked the question yesterday, like, you know, I want to know what was actually said. And so I went ahead and I found it, and that's what it was. And so Freaky Friday it is. I would like to take a moment to stretch, if that's okay with you. And so we are going to jump into a really quick song. And then when we come back, we are going to talk Freaky Friday. Labia, is it sexy or saggy? And so right now the computer is playing a bunch of music. I just want to breathe for a second. Give me a second and we are going to be back into it. But I do want to know, like, do you think a labia, is that sexy? Like when a woman has a really big labia, is that something that's sexy? Or is that like, yo, you over here done smashed a whole bunch of people? And for some reason, people equate an extended labia with, well, all this should be said on air. So I'll wait. I'll wait. I'm on air, but I just want to take a second to call you. You called? But did you call? Because I want, like, a song is playing, and I wanted to take a minute while the song is playing. Okay. How do you feel? Okay. Hey, hey. Yeah. May the good Lord bless you. May the good Lord bless you. I'm going to move some things around. I'm going to come give you a hug. Listen, we can definitely have that conversation. Like, let me come off air and we can have that whole conversation because we can have that whole conversation. There's something else that I think I texted to you, but like, then we don't have to talk about it. But I'm still coming to give you a hug. Okay, bye. Okay. Good rising, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. I am Taylor Andre. Waking up with Taylor Andre has absolutely nothing to do with the time of day we link up, but waking up your third eye with unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness. We is back, baby. And so the labia, having an extended labia, is that sexy or is it saggy? I want to know. I want to know what turns you on. So I recently watched this video, which was a documentary on BBC or BBC. And it was in Rwanda how it is customary and indigenous practice for women to pull on their labia, which for the people who don't know their anatomy, for the women who don't know their bodies, and for the men who have no clue what they're doing, the labia is the lips. So long story short, long lips, full lips, big saggy lips. Are they sexy or are they just nasty and saggy? What do you think? How do you feel? And in the documentary, they were talking about how there's this practice where women as young as like as soon as they get their period, girls will start pulling at their lips to make them elongate them. And so elongating them makes it like it's like a home. It's like what is it? Uncircumcised. So like how men are uncircumcised and they have this extra skin. It's like this extra skin on your pum pum lips, and then the practice that like it's non. What's the word I'm looking for? Like it's not an internal sexual act. Like it's rubbing the head on the clit with the lips like over it as like hugging it. And so there are men, first and foremost, that mess feels amazing. Like, period. Period. A head on your clit. So y'all know this Freaky Friday, right? I made that clear. We gonna have a real conversation about Freaky Friday. But from what I understand, like it's extremely pleasurable for men too. So like, let's not talk about labia. Let's pretend like there's absolutely no labia lips at all. And I've seen a number of porn where there's absolutely no lips, and I think to me it's unattractive personally. But I've also seen videos with like extended lips and full lips and big lips and long lips, and they're just like hanging and flapping. And I've noticed like there's memes that have been going around the internet for years of like the perfect little pum pum that looked like a picture drew it, and it looked like when you bust open is it papaya? When you bust open grapefruit and it's just like, oh, like little and small. And then one that has like a fuller lips, and then one with like a really big clit, and then another one with the lips like droopy. And men in the comments are always like, yo, how many dudes did she smash for her lips to be down to the ground? And, you know, just like negative things. And if I'm going to be transparent, we're going to be transparent. My thing's been big. So like I have lips. I may not have big lips on my face, but like my lips have always been big. And I never knew that they're like it. I thought everybody, like, first of all, when you're a kid, you think everybody's the same. Like I have what you have what I have. Like you don't think there's any real like differences until you start seeing and questioning like, oh, but like, why is your hair curly and mine's not? Like, why is your skin this color and mine? Like, until you get older, you really don't start asking questions. And so when I was little, I thought everybody was the same like me. So my lips were super big for what I thought, but I thought everybody was like that. And so in Rwanda, the elongation of lips for the sexual pleasure of not just men, but of women. And the reason why they say the sexual pleasure of women is because if a man wants to engage, I forgot the name of the practice, but like the rubbing his head on her clit and not like actual penetration. That's the word I was looking for, the actual penetration of sex. And so, it sounds like, oh, that's amazing for the man, but yeah, of course, every woman wants that is one of the most amazing feelings. If you've never done it before, I want you today on Freaky Friday to not engage in penetrative sex, but to only engage in the rubbing of the head in between the labia on the clit. And then I want you to inbox me, and we can keep it anonymous because I want to hear what you have to say. I'm interested in knowing if you enjoyed it as much as I do. But for the men, like when you see a woman with a big labia or big lips, how do you think it's nasty? Is it sexy? Are they saggy? Are you wondering like she must have mad bodies because them things are just drooping down? Like, I'm interested in knowing what men think and whether or not you've ever engaged in any of this like labia play. I'm gonna go to Facebook really quickly because I don't think on StreamYard they're letting me see the comments, and I do want to read some of these comments on here as well. Lord have mercy. Hold on, how do I pause myself though? I don't want to hear me. I just want to read the comments. They ain't said nothing about the sex. So so Bill says he thinks it's sexy. Sly King says he thinks it's sexy. Oh, so Bill, before Freaky Friday, we had the news. I wanted to make sure you guys got the information that you were not going to get from mainstream media. And so prior to talking about Freaky Friday, we just broke down what was going on in the world. Really quickly, Bill said, I know a woman whose mother is married to a man whose son killed and raped Kimberly in Franklin Field back in the day. I was wondering, is it street code to say, hold on. What is it street code to say, I don't want to be around this? Yo, I have questions, Bill. A lot of questions. Sly King said, I think they're amazing if they are big. Nothing is wrong with them being big at all. But you know what? A lot of, maybe it's like age. Maybe age has something to do with it. But a lot of men, like, I'm just here for the comments. I be reading the comments. And in the comments, a lot of men thought it was disgusting. They attributed a woman's big vagina lips with her having multiple partners. They attributed it to like being nasty, and what was the name that he called it? He said that it looked like a slug, that they were like nasty slugs, and like who wants to, put their face in that? And I was really offended, and I was offended because I was like, hold on, but my lips have always been big, even before like any type of sexual intercourse. And so I wonder like how many other women also have enlarged labias or bigger lips, and whether or not if you faced any form of discrimination or had anybody say anything. Like, no one's ever complained. I'm gonna say that. Ain't nobody ever said nothing to me. Whatever their personal opinions were never circled back to me. But I'm wondering, as far as women, did you ever have an issue when it came to your lips, or even like maybe an extended clit. Like, do you have a big clit and men don't like it because they feel like it's a baby penis? I don't. Yo, there's this video on what is it? Ebony? No. I Love Black. What is it? Tasty Blacks. There's this video on Tasty Blacks. Like, they now made it a subsection of like big clits is now a section, and I'm interested in all of that. Like, I'm curious. And so, yo, this thing really looked like a baby penis, like a teeny. It was mad big, and she was actually using it and sticking it and like penetrating like it was a thing. And I was like, we all know, like, if you know anything about anatomy, you know, for me, I don't know if this is like a real thing, but if you take a look at anatomy and you look at a penis and you look at balls, if you just push it upwards, that's a uterus in fallopian tubes going into your ovaries. Like, that's really all it is. Yo, you know what I wanted to tell you that many people don't know? Did you know that different races have predispositions on the length in which their, what is that? Vaginal canal. Like, women's vaginal canals based on their race is actually either longer or shorter. And so there are some women that have a really, really short vaginal canal. So when that thing feel like it fits perfectly, like it was made for each other, like there's some men with little peepees and women that have little vaginal canals. And so your little winky woo and her little vaginal canal are perfect for one another. Absolutely perfect. Where, and like some of the women or some women that experience like pain with a man that's bigger, it's because their vaginal canal is not as long as some other women. And so it's like literally hitting their, I am not a gynecologist. I am not going to pretend to know all of these body parts, but I do know. And if you don't have to believe me, go do your due diligence. Like, it was a study, and in the study they found that some women's vaginal canals are shorter, some are longer, and they found that through race, like you can find like Asian women may have smaller vaginal canals than a white woman. And I thought that was interesting because it's like, I was made for you. I do. I think that's cute. It is cute. It's cute how like our bodies were in a sense kind of made for each other. And even though it's not like something planned, like sex feeling good is less about the actual feeling of it, like the emotions and stuff like that, but like there's physical components that come with your soulmate. So your soulmate kind of like fits like a glove inside of you, and I think that's kind of dope to me. But nobody want to talk about sex today, clearly, because nobody is commenting on these labia, that's really what it is, labia, and whether or not. So how about women with smaller labias that don't have extra skin and whose labias are not sagging? For men, does it feel different for you? Like when you are having penetrative sex with a woman, is it different for you in the feeling when she doesn't have a large labia, she doesn't have big lips, versus if she has smaller lips? Like, is the smaller lip sex feel different? Because if you have a large labia, you have these lips that are like hugging the penis as he's entering and exiting, where if she has a smaller labia or no lips, or very few lips, how about that? She still has lips, they're just not large. Really? Somebody says it does feel different. Listen, can we bring you in? Slide, can you come in? Can you come in? That did not sound right. Let me see if I can get, because Sly is he is super vocal today. And so I'm trying to figure out how I can get you in here. I'm not logged into anything on here. Sly, I'm about to send you a picture and I want you to log in based on the URL and you can, I'll wait for you to join because I have some questions. And if some other men, we can, I know you're on Periscope, but I want you to like slide. I can't invite you from Periscope onto StreamYard. And so I'm gonna take a picture of this thing. I'm gonna text it to you and then you can come. Yo, that was a lot and sounded extremely sexual, but I promise you it was not. I probably Freaky Friday all day. Where's DL? Because DL was down for that conversation. All right, so the URL that I just sent you, put that into your address bar and it'll show me that when you pop up and I'll add you to the conversation and we can, like, let's talk about this. I'm ready. I'm ready. Who else ready? We can add 6 more people. Who else want to add this conversation? And this is dope because on regular, like when we do radio differently, we're unable to really add other people into the conversation. We can only do one at a time. We can only take calls. But with this program that I'm using, as long as you can give me access to you and, you know, I can send you the link, you can join the conversation, get on air, add to you. You can agree, you can disagree, you can do what you want, but just know that for the future that if you ever want to engage with me on a like one-on-one, we can definitely, and this is as sexual as we can be too. Sly, do I have an old number for you? I have, oh no, it hasn't gone through yet. But it says it's iMessage. I don't know, boo. I don't know. So Freaky Friday, Waking Up with Tayla Andre, Spark FM Online. We are talking today, Freaky Friday, about sex. Let's talk about sex, baby. I recently watched a documentary on BBC. Y'all know I be butchering stuff for real. I don't mean it, but I was watching how in Rwanda there's indigenous practice that has been going on for years, like as long as Rwandans have been Rwandans. And it's the pulling of the labia, pulling of the lips. So when a man, and it's something that women do in order to pleasure a man. And so they elongate their lips, they pull at their lips when they start puberty, and by the time they reach adulthood, or, you know, they actually, what I learned is they, by your middle finger, like it's supposed to, that's when you stop. You stop pulling on your lips when it extends like for your middle finger. And so based on what I learned, it's like basically if your lips can like fit over your finger, that would be pleasurable to a man and for like a man's head. Yes, Lai, I did text you. And so the practice, I think it's like kuzini, it's in their native tongue, the practice of rubbing your head on a woman's clit and having her labia like folded over your penis. And so it's non-penetrative sex, but it's like, it still feels amazing. And I am a huge fan. I love it. I don't know if there's a English word for that or not, but I thoroughly enjoy that. And for your Freaky Friday, my suggestion to you is to engage in this Rwandan practice, not of pulling on your labia, but in the like non-penetrative sex and just the rubbing back and forth. And they said like men have ejaculations, like this is extremely pleasurable for a man as well as a woman. And the woman who was doing the documentary even went into the village, like where outside of the city, like if you go to Africa, if you're not in the city, you're in the village, period. And so she went out to the village to go talk to women in the village, and the village women said, if my man can't make me, what she say? If my man can't make me make water, then I'm gonna throw him under the bed and keep him there. But it's like it enhances a female ejaculation or squirting in a sense by like this action. And so I'm willing to try, because I've never gone to that point. It's like more so of like a foreplay version of it. But I definitely think that we as a collective should do it one together and then inbox each other anonymously on our findings. It could be like a research. We could do research. How about that? How about that? But so of course with documentaries, they give both sides of it. And there's a woman who is advocating against it. And the reason why she's advocating against it is because the practice starts as early as puberty. And she's like, back in the day at 8 and 9 years old, 10, 11 years old, when we were getting our periods and practicing this elongation of the labia, we were also getting married at 12 and 13. And so for a young girl who is just now entering into puberty, she needs to be focused on her schoolwork and not elongating her labia in order to give pleasure to a man. Like, that's not the conversation that she needs to have. That's unacceptable. And we need to alter what we believe to be true. We got Sly King, not in the building.
What up? What up?
Hey, love, how are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Hey, Dad.
Hold on, let me turn it up. Say something.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hey, bro.
Hey, what's happening? How are you?
Nothing much. For those that are listening, if you could just hit me on my line and let me know if there's an echo or not. Let me see if I can just. How about now? Slide?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, we're good?
We good.
Okay.
So, you've engaged in this practice.
Yes, I have.
Tell me about this engaging of this practice.
Well, I mean, I think first of all, to the conversation about that it's either sexy or it's not, or it's nasty. I actually think it's amazing. I think that there is a difference. From my experience, there's a difference. It feels different. And so I know that there's a difference between the two. And so I prefer the larger labia, if you will, from my personal preference, based upon what my experiences have been. There is a difference. And so that's when you said that, I was like, you know what? I really hadn't thought about that a lot, but there really is a difference. And that's something that I noticed. And my preference, I'm like, yeah, I never thought anything that I was like, yeah, all that other stuff. I've seen those posts and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, but if you hadn't really experienced that, you really don't know what that's all about. You don't know how great it is. And your perception of that visually, yeah, that may be something that, whether you are a fan of that or not, but if you haven't experienced it, it's a game changer. I will tell you that much. It'll change your preference. It's like, you change. It's like when you get something you like to eat, it's like, no, I want it cooked this way. So it's like, no, serve it to me like that. Let me have it like that. That's me. But I mean, again, I can't speak for everybody else.
Of course you can't speak for everybody else. So you never even, like, prior to this conversation, you never thought about, like, the labia of a woman?
No, I have. I mean, that's why I was like, when I happened to see you, I think you posted something about it or whatever. I'm like, no, this is a conversation or something that I've been aware of for a long time. And so I know what I like. So I knew what I liked prior to even the conversation. My personal preference and what I like. So when it was brought up, I'm like, nah, I mean, it's a no brainer for me, what I like or what I have experienced and how great that is. And so, yeah, it's a game changer. That's for sure for me. But then, of course, I think it's all down to what people like. And I think if you get a chance to experience it and you have a chance to be a part of that and see what it's all about, yeah, your decision will change. It's totally different. So yeah, for me, again, like I said in the very beginning when it's brought up, I'm like, no, I've been down this road and I can easily answer this question. I can address this pretty well.
So as far as so the practice of labia elongation. Hold on. I'm trying to figure out these volumes here. So the practice of labia elongation, has that for you, I forgot what it's called, like the actual rubbing, not the penetrative sex, but the actual just rubbing the head on the clit. Like for you, is that something you've engaged in to ejaculation?
Yeah, actually I have. Yeah, because but again, if you pay attention to the person you're with, and then you pay attention to that this is something that they like, and it's, I think you mentioned something about it earlier that it's very pleasurable. Mm-hmm. If you are paying attention to the person you're with and you notice that they really, really are enjoying this, it's like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna keep going. It's like you find a spot and you don't stop, right? You just okay, let me stay on this road and continue to keep going. So yeah, if it's something that was pleasurable, and I think it was, I can't remember how long ago that was, but then I was like, okay, I really, really enjoy that. And I thought at the same time too, okay, this is pleasurable, then let's continue with that. So yeah, I do remember that too. So yeah, when you brought it up, I was like, yeah, if you have done that and that person was enjoying it, then yeah, then it can be really
orgasmed, you orgasm, but you guys didn't have penetrative sex.
Not that first time, no. Round 2, yes. First time, no.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
See? Look, I'm too old to be making up these stories. This is stuff. This is going down the road of things I remember, but I do remember that, and I'm like, yeah, that was.
You say memory, that was back in the day.
No, no, but just remembering, when that happened. I was like, I really remember that too, and I was like, wow, that was pretty dope. So yeah, I remember it.
I think some of these men that were when reading the comments of this photograph that had these different labia pictures, and the ones that had very little slim labias versus the elongated, flappy,
no, listen, you're laughing, but I remember seeing one of those posts, and it was really kind of a joke. I forgot what it said. It said something. You know what? I remember what it was. It was an actual picture of the one I saw was a picture of an Arby's sandwich, and it was an Arby's. That's the one. That's the one. That's the one.
It was roast beef.
Yeah, it was Arby's. It was an Arby's roast beef sandwich. That's the one, and it just took me out because I'm like, man, come on now, it's not no Arby's roast beef sandwich. Which, by the way, the roast beef sandwiches at Arby's are actually really, really great. By the way, I hadn't had one in a while.
Pause, because I ain't never been to Arby's.
Really?
I ain't never been to Arby's to use the bathroom. I ain't never.
Well, I haven't been in many years, but when I did have the roast beef sandwich, it was great. Now, again, when I saw the picture, I was like, dang. I'm like, because I guess for me it hit home because I've had a roast beef sandwich before, and I said, come on, man, it don't look like no roast beef sandwich. I said, but roast beef is edible, so say what you want. I don't care. Say what you want. Like I said, that's 9 times out of 10. A lot of people do things for laughs and jokes, but most of those folks, they wouldn't turn that down. I miss me with that. I doubt very seriously you turn it down. That's for sure. But yeah, that's the one that I remember. I said, man, I saw that. I said, man, you got to be kidding. The internet has no chill. None.
No chill.
Zero.
It absolutely was funny, but I can imagine how many other women, such as myself, were just that's literally a representation of what I look like, and that kind of hurts my feelings. And so, that's not a conversation. That's not a conversation that you have in health class. It's some women have larger labias and some women have really small labias.
And you made a good point. You made a good point, though. I think that there is a situation where some are, I guess you'd say, a little ashamed or offended by that, and it comes across as something they're bothered by. And so when you have these conversations or you make some type of joke about it or whatever, it's kind of like, dang, I feel a little embarrassed, and so, but the truth is there are men out there that enjoy this, that like it, that don't find it to be something to be ashamed of or embarrassed about or whatever. So, find a person that likes it and enjoys it, but don't feel like you have to feel like you're ashamed of that. That's just something that I feel like people can easily when they see that, it can be offensive, and nobody wants to come up and say, hey, yeah, that's me, I'm offended by this because I look like that. You're not gonna say that, but now you may say that, and there may be some people that be like, hey, so let me holler at you real quick. Let me talk to you real quick because I kind of so I think that's a thing that's a serious deal because there's some women who really can be, offended by that.
And here in America, what really surprised me was that though this is a practice in Rwanda to elongate your labia, here in America, there's women by the droves going to plastic surgeons to get theirs removed. And so while other women are enjoying this, some women are like, nah, like that's not for me. I want the aesthetically pleasing version, which you just said, like, just because it looks aesthetically pleasing doesn't mean that it feels the same.
Right. And that's the thing about it too. There's a good chance it may not feel the same, and I know for me and from what I've experienced, there's a difference. But if you choose to make that change, that's your personal, preference on that. But just keep in mind, I think across the board, I think it's just like they say about, I believe the conversation about, whether those who are circumcised and those who are not, there is a difference. And there is a difference for, men that say that they aren't, and then the sensitivity ones that say that they, that actually are. So, I think that, when you go and start altering things that you naturally have, there begins to start changing the overall experience. I think once you start having surgery like that anyway, I think it changes some things. So you have to be careful with that.
I think once you start having surgery, your mental has already come to, like, you already feel some type of way about yourself, and there's some like mental health issues that are underlying there. And that's like even for weight loss surgery, like I definitely have been considering the sleeve. Like I'm super thick for no reason. I'm like, but at the same time, I really just enjoy me and I love food. So
yeah, but then on the flip side of that, though, the other side is that there are, and this is not to be offensive to no means or no shape, form, or fashion, but there are some undercover chubby chasers, okay? And that's nothing, and I'm just listen, there's research and data on this I could prove to you. I promise you I could. But there are some undercover chubby chasers, and quite honestly, it's a lot of women who are undercover chubby chasers. And I can prove this. I have actual facts.
Warm in the wintertime, that's why.
Say what now?
Because the chubby people are warm in the winter. They always want to eat, so they're gonna feed you good. Like
I don't know. I just have I have noticed, and just from things that I have found out over time, that there are some who actually really are undercover chubby chasers. A lot of women are, but there are men who, that like that. And so, I mean,
like the skinny ones, like really, really skinny men love, not even thick, like they like fat girls. Like,
yeah, I've noticed that too. I've noticed that too. That's why I said, man, you do, it's like anything else, and it's not to be, preaching that, but it's based upon what you like and what you feel comfortable with about yourself. You make those changes for you and not really anybody else, because people, believe it or not, do like some of the things you may feel are not things that you may feel comfortable with. But there are some men that like women like that, and there's some women who like men like that too. I'm not saying you don't want to be unhealthy. I mean, we want to live a healthier life. It's important to take care of ourselves. I mean, look, I'm a gym rat, so I'm one of those. I love doing CrossFit, but that's my personal thing for many reasons. But at the same time, there are those who prefer someone who may not be like that, and that's cool, But I'm doing what I'm doing for me. Yeah, it's about preference, But yeah, it's about that more than anything else. So that's why when you make these changes, you may be thinking, yeah, they may not like that, but believe it or not, there's some folks out here who really, really feel that way about people.
Don't change.
No,
your perfect person is looking for you.
That's it.
I made a comment about the size of the vaginal canal versus
Mm-hmm.
the size of penises. Have you in your? Because I don't have a penis. Sometimes I wish I did. Because it's beautiful to me.
No,
But
I don't think that you having would probably not be a good idea. No, probably.
if I
Probably
had a
not.
penis, it would be. I would have a million kids.
No, probably not. No,
I had a
no,
penis, it would be over.
no.
But, as far as have you, as a man with a penis, have you experienced like women with longer vaginal canals versus women with shorter vaginal canals?
Let me say this. I didn't know a lot of details about canal length, size, whatever, but from the feel, I think that there is a difference, or you can notice there's a difference in certain women and others, right? You just like, okay, that feels it's a little bit different versus somebody else, and it feels a little bit different there too. So you can kind of tell that there is a different the canal's a different size, at least from what I can remember. And that's just again not knowing that they were all different.
You keep remembering stuff.
No. I'm just going by. I mean, look, I'm not going to go down my track record of my past. But, I mean, we're not going to go there. But I'm just going back. I'm trying to. When you said that, I'm trying to go back and play in my mind. I'm going, okay, was that a situation that I remember that was this way and felt different compared to something else? And so that's kind of where my mind is now. And I'm going, there may have been some times that did feel a little different, and maybe that's why. And so I think that that's kind of those things that, from knowing a genetic standpoint and knowing things about, bodies that you did not know. I think that's something that I found out now, and I'm going, wow, okay, that's different. Like, I didn't realize that. I never paid any, it wasn't nothing from an anatomy standpoint you paid attention. You just at that time just trying to, trying to get busy.
Like that. Yeah, exactly.
You're just trying to get busy. You're not thinking about all this other stuff. So no, now that you say it, it's like, no, okay.
I do remember.
Now I remember now, maybe that's the reason why. So yeah, I think that there's a difference in that. So, some people think, I guess if people think they've been knocking it out the ballpark, probably not. You just probably there was somebody whose canal was not long, so there's a difference, I guess. So I think that was kind of a thing that kind of was eye-opening to me. So I learned something today.
Oh yeah, I'm glad I taught you something. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Conversations leading to universal consciousness. I am Tayla Andre. This is Sly King, and a lot of people don't know that Sly King is actually a radio personality as well. You hear that like soothing melodies of his voice. But Sly is in Birmingham, Alabama, and you do the midday mix, correct?
No, I'm actually on at night. So my show is the happy hour, and so I'm on at night from 6 until 9 on Thursdays. No. I've done nights. Shoot, I've done nights forever now. I was doing the weekend, and then I ended up being on nights for, I can't remember now. I mean, I've been in the game now for 15 plus years. So, been at nights for the most part. I was bouncing around on the weekends and stuff. I filled in during the middays before, but at night I am on 6 p.m. and then I'm on till 10 o'clock on Fridays, but 9 o'clock till 9 o'clock on Thursday nights.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
How can you listen to you, Sly?
You can listen anywhere. You can actually, the station I'm on is Hot 107.7 in Birmingham. And of course, we have an app. You can listen on our website, hot1077radio.com. And you can follow me on social media too. So you can easily find a way to listen to that at I Am Sly King. You can follow me there as well if you want to hit me up. But yeah, man, I always enjoy getting a chance to chop it up. I've never really, actually, I think this may be the first time, if I'm not mistaken, I've actually ever been on your show. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it is. It's the first time. So I got to get you.
But you've done drops, like we've had your drops.
Yes. I've done drops for you. I've done drops for you and things like that. So, I'm always grateful to get opportunity to do that for you and have enjoyed.
Right now?
What you want me to say?
I don't know. 15 years. Come on, bitch.
Oh, goodness. Oh, man. I mean, you put me on the spot. I'm trying to think of what you want me to say. I'm trying to think of drops that I've done in the past.
It doesn't matter. The past is the past. Let's move to the future.
All right. So you're waking up your third eye with Tayla Andre. Let's see. Let me give you another one.
You gonna make me edit for real, huh?
Add a what now?
You gonna make me edit for real.
Hey, listen. You
need to edit it. How about that?
Now I got to do the editing too. Hey,
I
what's
want to say, this is Sly King out of Birmingham, Alabama, and from all the way in Alabama, I tune into my girl Tayla Andre, as you should, on Spark FM Online.
Hey, what's up? It's Sly King from Birmingham, Alabama. Tuned in to my girl Tayla Andre, and make sure you wake up with Tayla Andre. You can listen on what is it again?
Everything. TaylaAndre.com.
Okay, TaylaAndre.com. Hey, what's up? It's Sly King from Birmingham. Check it out, my girl Tayla Andre. Make sure you wake up to listen to her, get your day started, and you can listen anywhere at TaylaAndre.com.
Book. Thank you.
You hit me with the book.
So Billy Ray said, I believe the extra skin rubs a man the right way, which helps in the actual business itself.
That's true. That's why I said it feels different. That's why I'm like, everybody can talk about it all they want to, but yeah. I'm not telling you to go buy a roast beef sandwich and look, Arby's gonna sell out. Well, look, everybody they're gonna sell out of roast beef sandwiches, man. What happened? Why everybody bought roast beef sandwiches? A lot of men came and bought roast beef sandwiches. Well,
hey, yo, listen, I need my coins, B.
Yeah, you need your endorsement. That's what you need, right? You need your endorsement. I'm just saying. Look, he's right. He's right. Men that are tripping about that, let me tell you, it's absolutely correct. It is.
I want Billy to tell us if he's ever experienced. And I believe it's cuisine, because it was really sexy the way that they were saying it. So the actual act of rubbing your head onto a woman's clit with her labias hugging you. I want to know if he's actually engaged in that until orgasm. And so until orgasm is something that I've never experienced, but it was more so like a form of foreplay.
Yeah. That's basically what it usually is, and I can lead into other things, of course. But yeah, usually that's kind of the beginning start of things. But yeah, he's right. Absolutely amazing. And if you haven't tried that, you need to do that now.
Do it today. I want y'all to do it today, and then I want you to seriously inbox me like, yo, Tayla, thank you. Male, female, I want you to engage today, and then let me know what you think. And I want you to go all the way through, because I'm gonna practice all the way through too, like till orgasm. And in the documentary, the woman said, like, if he can't make me make water by doing that, like I'm throwing him under the bed. Oh, and Bill said yes. He said, oh yes, all the way to orgasm. Orgasm and she orgasm. I feel like I'm out of the game right now.
You're missing out, Taylor. You're missing out. I'm trying to tell you need to.
I thought I was spearheading this conversation. Clearly not.
Well, I mean, like you say, you learned something today. See, you found that out. See, more men actually like it than they say. That's all I'm gonna tell you.
Well, I thank you. I love you. I appreciate you.
Likewise.
For the women who, if you just tuning in, we're about to wrap up. We have about 6 minutes before we close out. But today's conversation for Freaky Friday is labias and whether they are sexy or just saggy. And so Sly and I were having a conversation about how we saw a meme on social media that was equating an extended labia to a roast beef Arby's sandwich, and how they look one and the same. Like, I want you guys to Google not normal orgasm. Bill, I need you to explain that. I don't get it. She wet me. Yes, and that's exactly what the lady said in the documentary. He said that she wet me. Like, she skeet from the window to the wall. Like, and the woman in the documentary was just like, if he can't make me make water, like, it's over, it's done. And so the documentary that I was watching was is it BBC or is it BBCC, the international broadcast?
I think it's BBC.
BBC?
Yeah, I think it's BBC.
Yeah, so it was on BBC, and Rwandan women from a young age, once they hit puberty, they start elongating their lips, they start pulling at their lips, and then they typically stop when it gets down to their middle finger. So as long as their lips are as long as their middle finger, that is like the size that is most pleasurable to a man. Here in America, women that have elongated lips typically go and see a practice surgeon, a plastic surgeon, in order to get them cut off to make them aesthetically pleasing, for them to look little and cute and like porn stars. But at the end of the day, it has absolutely nothing to do with how many sexual partners you had. It has absolutely nothing to do with, just being excessive skin. It's, just like some breasts sit up and some breasts sag. It's the same thing. And we are learning today that a lot of men engage in this practice of rubbing their head and having it held together by the labia all the way to orgasm. So I'm super excited. I learned something today. I want to go practice now. But that's dope. I learned something. I wanted to share that knowledge with you. Sly King from Birmingham, Alabama, I thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. We are at the top of the hour. I am Tayla Andre. Everything Tayla Andre. Oh, Sly, I got to get you a book. You need a book, boo.
I do. I need to get a book, man. I need to get a book. I hate we didn't connect where you weren't able to make it here, but I do need to get a book though, regardless.
That's okay. I can do call-in interviews. You want me to call in? I could do that.
That's fine too, man. We can make it happen.
Whatever you need. So I wrote a book. It's called Finally, Home, period. And it talks about the history of home ownership when it comes to women, people of color, indigenous folks, and all of the inequities that we have faced, all of the challenges we have faced as far as the history of real estate and Black people. And then we talk about how to clean up your credit. There's 17 pages dedicated to a step-by-step guide on how you can clean your credit yourself. And then oh, damn, Bill. Okay. Bill says she wet me like pee.
Okay.
She skeeted. That's really what it was. She skeet. That is called squirt. She squirted on you both. And it's okay.
There you go.
Not a normal orgasm. Aside from the step-by-step guide to clean your credit, it is also a reference guide, I was told, for people that are preparing for first-time home ownership. If you've been having conversations in the last 2 years, if you were like, I wonder if I make enough, if you were like, I hate my landlord, if you're like, yo, I'm spending mad money on rent right now, if you were wondering whether or not you could become a homeowner, this is exactly the time for you preparing to become a homeowner and learning all of the steps that it's going to take for you to one day reach that goal. One of the things that I've spent many hours on the phone trying to give people the information that they need in order to make decisions, and I have realized that we are misinformed, like completely misinformed about credit, completely misinformed about mortgage. Like we do not understand anything about housing, real estate, or credit or generational wealth. And you cannot create generational wealth if you don't even understand what generational wealth looks like. And so though the book is small, it's 70 pages, it's $20, but it's worth $2,000 and gives you the information of a 8-hour seminar. And so I really want to continue to educate my people. And I want to give a huge shout out to the baby that called my phone and cussed me out on my voicemail talking about don't be telling Black people to sell their house. You need to be empowering them to keep and buy a house. I do want to acknowledge that hurt my feelings, because there's a lot of Black people that are selling their homes, and they're being ripped off and raped financially. So if they're going to sell, I am going to make myself available to make sure they get a fair and equitable offer that is an offer that they deserve. And with that being said, thank you, Sly. I love you.
Thank you, Tayla. Love you too. I appreciate you.
Have an amazing day. Again, I am Tayla Andre. Everything Tayla Andre, TaylaAndre.com. TaylaAndre. And you can call me because my number is everywhere in the city. 617-459-0041. 617-459-0041. I thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. And I hope you have an amazing day. Mwah.